Is Winter Springs a good place to live? We'll go over these topics to answer that question. You can pause this infographic to familiarize yourself with some stats about Winter Springs, Florida. The kind of lifestyle that you can expect in Winter Springs is what I would consider like more of a suburban or small town feel. You wouldn't necessarily know that you live near this major tourist destination like Orlando, living in Winter Springs because you're further enough away from the hustle and bustle of Disney and all that stuff. And I think one thing that makes Winter Springs unique is how you're so close to nature, but you're not in the middle of nowhere. Here's some travel times to popular destinations from city center in Winter Springs. For houses, I think you're going to find a pretty good variety in Winter Springs. There are homes on a couple acres of land. There's not a whole bunch of that, but they do have it. There are condos, what I would consider starter homes, and even custom homes. There are some neighborhoods in Winter Springs that will be on the smaller side, maybe like 50 homes, something like that. And then you have some neighborhoods with hundreds of homes. Some of the neighborhoods are gated. You will find new construction from time to time in Winter Springs. Mainly right now, I'm seeing new construction townhomes, not necessarily single family home, communities. You will find some new construction single family homes. Maybe it was like a tear down of like an older home or something like that. But there won't necessarily be like a whole new construction community with 50, 100 homes, stuff like that. You may see it from time to time, but not often. A lot of the communities have HOAs or homeowners associations. The prices can range from around $400 to $1,500 a year, but it can vary quite a bit. It really depends on what amenities the community has, if there's a gate, things like that. Here's some stats for Winter Springs. The median estimated home value is $421,000. And then in Seminole County, the median home price is just over $400,000 for comparison. So it's a little bit more expensive to live in Winter Springs than other parts of Seminole County. But in comparison, if you look at like Winter Springs' next door neighbor, which is Oviedo, I think their median home value right now is about $490,000, something like that. So not as expensive as other parts of Seminole County as well. Now, by the time you're watching this video, those prices might have changed. So in the description, I have a link to a current market report, or you can email me if you want a detailed market report. If you've ever lived in Winter Springs, let us know what it was like to live there in the comments. It gives people a good idea of what it might really be like to live in Winter Springs from an actual resident. If you're enjoying the video so far, a like and comment really helps me out. If we haven't met yet, my name's Ginader. I'm a real estate agent in Orlando. If you have any real estate questions or if you're looking for an agent, my contact information is in the description below. Also in the description, I have a link to my preferred properties for sale in Winter Springs. For transportation and infrastructure, there is the 417, which is a toll road that goes through Winter Springs, and it'll connect you to other parts of Central Florida. There's also 1792, which is a local road, and it parallels I-4, which is our big interstate here in Orlando. So it's a good way to get to other parts of Orlando as well. Beyond that, there aren't many major roads that go through the actual town of Winter Springs. Usually, if you're trying to get from one side of Winter Springs to the other, you're essentially going through neighborhoods. So it can take a little bit long to get from one side of Winter Springs to the other. For public transportation, there's the Lynx bus system. It has, as of this recording, one route that goes through Winter Springs. And then there's a couple routes that are on the perimeter of Winter Springs. So generally speaking, for Winter Springs and pretty much everywhere in Central Florida, I would say that you'd probably want to have a car if you're able to. For things to do in Winter Springs, you can go on a hike and explore Bear Creek Nature Trail. There are many parks throughout Winter Springs. Central Winds Park is where most of the events happen in Winter Springs, like the Scottish Highland Games, and there are different holiday events also. The Cross Seminole Trail is over 20 miles and it connects you to other towns in Seminole County. Now, Winter Springs just isn't, cypress trees and lakes. There's also the Winter Springs Town Center, which is, I would consider the main shopping plaza in Winter Springs. Then beyond that, there are smaller shopping plazas all throughout Winter Springs. For those big shopping trips, you might find yourself in neighboring cities like Oviedo and Altamont Springs. However, you will still find plenty of great places places to eat throughout Winter Springs. Is Winter Springs a good place to live? I think it's a good place to live if you're looking for a small community feel. If you're looking for a quiet place to live, I think Winter Springs is a great choice. And it's just quiet from my experience. Your experience could be different. And let us know in the comments if that's the case. But I believe it's quiet when you consider it being so close to a big city like Orlando. Winter Springs is an established community. There's not lots of developments or redevelopments going on. At least as of this recording, there's not. So it's kind of nice that everything's sort of established. You don't have like a bunch of construction and all that kind of stuff like other parts of Central Florida. Of course, Winter Springs isn't perfect. Check out this video to learn about the pros and cons of living in Winter Springs. Or if you're looking for another place to live that's near Winter Springs, check out this video about Oviedo. Reach out to me if you have any questions or if you need a real estate agent. My contact information is in the description below. Thanks for watching.